Let me read a story to you. The Hog Farm is the oldest living commune in America. It's a bunch of 60s hippies welded together by common desires and trust and time. It was started in 1967 by a handful of freaks living in the hills of Sunland, California. They built a bus to replace one that some of them had once lived on. That bus had been called Further, and it was the mythic bus of Ken Kesey and the Merry Pranksters. Eventually, stories of Further and the Hog Farm buses spread across the land and inspired others to build their dream traveling machines. And soon there were buses filled with freaks traveling all over the country. Some of them Hog Farm buses. When I stepped onto one of them one afternoon in Chicago, I was captured. I joined the Hog Farm in 1969. I stayed for about a year and then left for other adventures. After that, I'd meet up with them at stops along the way, but as a full-time family member, I was gone. I left, but I never quit. I became an executive, a father, an academy member. I lived 100 other layers of life. I gathered identities as I went, but I always remembered I was a hog farmer. The bus I lived on in those days was the Fast Bus, or the Incredible Asp. The Asp was a 1951 Greyhound Silversides, and this was 1969, so it probably had a few million miles on it. But to us, it was magic. A huge step up from the brightly painted, beaten-down school buses everybody was living on. The Asp was sleek and beautiful. It was totally invisible to the cops. Outside, it was an old Greyhound bus, but inside, it was a crew of a dozen freaks ready to party and drive day and night across the country. In 36 hours, we could sail all the way from LA to Miami. We could be there in time to make a difference at a festival or a demonstration or a party, anywhere someone thought we could be useful. I loved it like few other experiences in my life. For me, the Hog Farm was a Dionysian dream, a rich collection of people and events, of cop shows and politics and celebrity and sex and drugs and rock and roll. That bus was my home. It was a rolling party, a crystal ship cruising through the night. It was a young man's dream. I left after a while because all that was not enough. I slipped off the bus and lived in Oregon with the remains of the pranksters, then moved to LA to work in the movie business. And I had different kinds of adventures, but the deep core of belief in people, that fundamental love that was the Hog Farm, was not forgotten. So I left the Hog Farm behind, and I was successful in Hollywood, while Wavy and John, Larry Brilliant, and Goose and Cedar and many others went to India and started Seva, a charity that gave millions their eyesight back. Nowadays, when I reflect on paths taken and not, I'm in awe of what they did. I would see them every 5 or 10 years. Time passed. Now we've all grown older. Wavy is 84. I'm 78. And many of us have stopped getting older at all. For those of us who remain, the time is sweet. In 2016, the 50th reunion was announced, a gathering for all of us, the ones from the beginning, the ones that came later, the children that came from all of this, and their children, and the friends we made along the way. The Hog Farm owns a ranch outside of Laytonville, about 2 hours north of San Francisco, so we gathered there. For a weekend, we peered into impossible old faces looking for young beauty. And when we found it, it was as if time had never happened. We talked and kissed and hugged and remembered, and for a while, we suspended time. What a pleasure it was. I brought a camera, of course, and I made pictures to help me remember all that I saw, everyone who could make it there. And what a splendiferous assemblage that was. Then on Saturday night, there was music on the stage and a light show put on by people who put light show into the lexicon of the 60s. And when I was tired, I walked away and I went to my bed next to the stage and I went to sleep. I woke up around 2 in the morning in country silence and stepped out into the soft darkness of the night. Not far away, there was a campfire with people sitting around it, and there was quiet music. Wrapping myself in flannel, I walked over to the fire and stood there listening while Stacy and the others made human-scaled music, singing and playing for each other. And I was transported to an understanding of music's birth and how old and deep it is. I was humbled. When the fire started to die, Kevin the fireman would appear. He circled the fire, a wizard at work, looking intently, then placing a new log exactly, stirring and tending till the circle of fire was perfect again. I made some pictures, the scene so dark that each image came up as a surprise. And at one point, I went back to my bed and got a bottle of Irish whiskey, opening it for all and leaving the cap behind. I stayed till 3:30, privileged and grateful to be part of this elemental ritual. And then I went back to sleep. This is all we have, this and other moments like it. Our bodies, our hearts, our minds, our comrades and our families. These few precious moments when we're alive and we know what a gift that is. Even as I write this, I'm alive again. What a great reunion.